to bear the burden of leadership over the next 40 years here in the United States and make sure that the United States, which I believe almost alone has maintained watch and ward for freedom, that the United States meets its responsibility. That is a wonderful challenge for us as a people. No other generation in history has borne the burdens that the United States has borne in the last 18 years. I want to see us continue to use our talents to the maximum and maintain the reputation of the United States as a citadel of freedom. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. In the interest of safety, will you please remain in your seats until the presidential party has departed?
Just heard the address by the President of the United States. The remarks that Dr. Thompson just made to the audience was requesting the audience to remain stationary during the President's departure. Once again, those in the full academic robes, approximately 200, are making their way down to form the line through which the President entered and through which he also will depart. He'll be escorted to the helicopter by the same group that escorted him to the platform. The President then will leave by helicopter, returning to the Seattle-Tacoma Airport. He'll be met there by delegation Frank Keller, Mrs. Pat Merrill, Joseph Gluck, Mrs. Elma Reeves Morrison, Jeanette Williams, Dewey Blanca, Luke Graham, Dean Richard Smith, and Milton Nesvig. And then he will depart from this area, and as you heard in some of the remarks made during this program, will then proceed to Tongue Point, Oregon, down along the Columbia River, for a brief stop over there, as he follows a rather fast and pressing pace in meeting his various commitments. But they do keep almost a schedule, and if they depart from it in any way, it seems like it might be a moment or two on the early side, as the helicopters did arrive here today just a little bit ahead of schedule, but almost right on the schedule. The convocation here in the President's speech was brought to you, as you no doubt know, by the University of Puget Sound and Pacific Lutheran University combined, and the respective doctors are among the group that is now escorting the President to the right field parking lot, where he will once again board his helicopter for the return trip to the Seattle-Tacoma Airport. As you can see, there are people of all ages hoping to get a handshake, a smile, or a closer look at the President as he leaves Cheney Field. The crowd was remarkably good once the program got underway. During the period, and there were people out here at Cheney Field as early as 8 o'clock this morning lined up hoping to get a good vantage point. We did have a crowd control problem earlier around the infield side, and there were several injuries. We hope none of them seriously, but as the crowd would push, and somebody would think that it might be fun to get a little snake dance going or swing, and of course the people that were pressed up against the barricades came up a little bit the worse for wear in some cases. We also had the sad occasion earlier this morning, quite early, before anything got underway. One elderly gentleman did collapse. He was provided with a resuscitator almost immediately, but unfortunately a 72-year-old gentleman was pronounced dead on arrival at a local hospital here in Tacoma. But there's a tremendous crowd on hand, and of course when they all want to crowd in and get a close look at the President, this can be a problem. The members of the State Patrol, the police departments, the sheriff's departments, the Armed Forces, Navy, military police, Army military police, and just about every form of police power was used in controlling the crowds, as I mentioned, including members of the police department high atop each and every one of the light standards here, all over what we call Tightwad Hill. And the President now almost making his way to the parking lot, as you can see, surrounded by both those in the academic robes and the other people that managed to get close enough along that route to get a closer look. Helicopters all warmed up and ready to go immediately. Many of the people making their ways from the inside of the stadium are now trying to make their ways closer to the helicopters themselves, so that they might get the advantage of a little closer look. Of course, there were some people who were on the infield and the outfield who had just a passing glance at the president that are hoping for a closer look. I might add that if you're driving anywhere, I would suggest that you don't come in the vicinity of Cheney Field, because I'm sure there will be a tremendous traffic problem as everybody tries to return to their respective jobs, or these students back to the classwork after their morning's activity. The weather has been simply gorgeous. It was one rather unique moment when Senator Jackson, the only one to refer to the weather, happened to say so at exactly the moment that a very small cloud settled right in front of the sun. See a gentleman passing with a banner that is outside of your view right now. It says, "America, a nation of courage," and I can't read the last part of it. But people in attendance here, remarkably well-behaved crowd once the restlessness of waiting was past. There's going to be a tremendous cleanup job inside the Cheney Field. There's various assorted pieces of paper, scraps, lunch bags. I imagine many of the students brought along are practically on every part of the outfield, and I'm sure the infield of the baseball park. President stopping and pausing long enough to shake the hand of just about all 200 of the folks in their academic robes, and he hasn't even made it to first base yet. He's now immediately before us, and of course the crowd is pressing in behind and following along the way. He is right at the moment, right about where Senator Wayne Morris and Senator Newberger of Oregon were seated during the actual program when it was underway. I believe he is just a moment ago paused to shake hands. I can't tell in the size of that crowd whether I could pick out Senator Wayne Morris or not. The left field side of the park making for the exits, and it's kind of hard to figure out how anything as large as the crowd appears to be going down the field can funnel through anything that looks as small as the exit. But they are doing it, and rather efficiently. People on the right side, the side toward which the president is moving, of course, are remaining in their places and will undoubtedly do just that until such time as the president passes outside of their view. They no longer have an opportunity to get a closer look. There's a large number, of course, of the press that travels with the president whenever he goes on a tour such as this. And as we mentioned shortly before broadcast time, those members of the press arrived here by helicopter. Some 5 helicopters, Marine Corps helicopters, came in formation about as efficiently as any formation or operation you could possibly see, and touched down here in the parking lot on the right field side. The working press arrived at the airport earlier today about 10:50 and came directly to the field and set up for their operations immediately to the left of the speaker's platform as viewed from in front of the platform. Those members now, I'm sure, filing their stories to the various organizations for which they do report. And we'll be reading about the president's trip and hearing about it in all cases. Of course, those of you who are tuned into this telecast were part of it. The president now is just about to first base. And I'm speaking physically in relationship to the baseball park. Of course, he still has, that is less than halfway to his helicopter. I'm sure, of course, once he gets to the gate that enters Cheney Field from the parking lot, that speed will probably, the progress will probably speed up considerably. And they do not have the tremendous number of people, impressive people, as of this moment outside. Of course, I do have a blind spot, and I may be wrong. The helicopters, in the meantime, do continue to whir on the parking lot. W-H-I-R-R, whir. And you can probably hear them right now. There's a large section of the lot has, of course, been and remained completely absent of any other forms of vehicle, set aside specifically for a landing pad. You might say that they don't need quite that much room for 2 helicopters. Believe me, when the 5 came in, they landed and took up just about all of the space involved. It's a tremendous pressing schedule the president has when he tours the country. There's little time for rest. The rest almost is taken strictly in transit. Even at those moments when the president retires in whatever city it is that he will be spending the night, there are always those that want to talk to them about their own specific problems, take the opportunity when the president is in their area, if possible, to talk to them. And it is a tremendous demand on the energies and the physical resources of a person such as the president that must bear up under such things. President and group now are just about to the gate that will take them past the seats inside Cheney Field. But still, as of this moment, on the playing field itself. As you can see, directly behind the president, Governor Rossellini, making a little bit faster progress. And the combined bands playing continuously at the moment, playing Anchors Away. Music has been provided today by the 26th Army combined bands, 26th Army Band and the 4th Division Band. Now you can see the people in the bleacher section actually got to the point that the president looked up at them. If he raises his hand or even glances in their direction, a cheer goes up. That is the excitement of being recognized yourself by the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States. Of course, those of you older folks can go back in your memories when you've had a chance, no matter what your political feelings might be, it is always a tremendous thrill to see the experience of seeing in person the President of the United States. This indeed will be the memories of these youngsters and students and everybody sometime to come. Now the President's progress, of course, speeds up a little as they have left the field itself and are now in the passageway between the grandstand and the bleachers and approaching the exit that will take them into the parking lot where the helicopters are standing by. Already, this is the first time today that this program has run behind its schedule time. This, of course, by the President's willingness to stop and shake hands and talk to people along the way. He was tentatively scheduled, according to the pre-planning, to be aboard that helicopter and just about be on his way by now. The crowd thins out in this area. Many of the students, of course, there were areas in which there were reserved sections here by invitation or for student bodies. There you see the two presidents of the respective colleges now, as the party is actually outside now, the masses of people, and of course the progress does speed up. Pauses to talk to the gentlemen that are very responsible for the crowd control. members of the police departments. It's Dr. Robert Mortvedt and Dr. Thompson of the two respective universities that are escorting the president back to the helicopter. The president was scheduled to depart by helicopter at 12:35, which is, according to my calculations, about 2 minutes ago. As we say, he will return to the Seattle-Tacoma airport, where he'll be met by a delegation of people. And he will not leave the area here till about 2:30 this afternoon. He will be going possibly from here by helicopter to, as we say, the rest of the journey. He will be visiting Tongue Point and Oregon. It was unexpected. There were some, the platform itself was scheduled to hold just a certain number of people today. The president, of course, Senator Magnuson, Senator Jackson, Governor Rossellini, Congressman Tollefson, and Mayor Harold Tollefson, along with County Commissioners Sprinker, Geiger, and Gallagher. The president of both colleges and the chairmen of the boards of trustees and both student body presidents. But Stuart Udall also became a member as he arrived with the presidential party. The governor now, the presidents of the university, having arrived at the helicopter, shaking hands with President Kennedy. And now he approaches the helicopter, will be boarding, and in just a moment, the helicopters themselves will take off, and they will veer to the right, go right up over the top of Tightwad Hill. We noticed that all during this ceremony, while the president was inside this stadium, there was absolutely no one on the hills surrounding Cheney Field. Now that the president is no longer in the stadium, we notice that the crowd control on the hill is letting up, and they are allowing some people in that vicinity. These are mostly people that left the stadium. The president now boards the helicopter, waves back at those people that are lining the parking area itself, goes out of